Good morning and welcome to another live stream. First things first, I really need people's support and assistance. I need 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel so I can get a little bit of money from YouTube to help pay for the ongoing costs of doing these streams. I really enjoy them, but I do need that little bit of assistance. So please go to my YouTube channel, subscribe, and go to the notifications and select all. That way you'll be notified every time I release something. But today we're going to talk about marketing with the NDIS and how that works and the things that we can look out for. And today we're going to talk to Michael Clark. He does a lot of marketing to help people. Good morning, Michael.
I'm so glad to be here. This is an absolute privilege to be able to sit with you and the people who are listening.
Thank you. So can you just explain the marketing aspects for the NDIS?
Yeah, well, in NDIS, you've got amazing providers and you've got horrendous providers, and then you've got the majority who are in the middle. Okay, so most people who need a hand with their marketing, they're in the middle. They're pretty good at what they do, but they're growing and they're learning, and imperfection is life. Does that make sense?
It does.
So if we're imperfect, the two things we want to do is we want to be striving towards improving what we're doing for participants. And the second thing is we want to be striving towards getting the word out there that we are doing the best we can, because people don't care if you're perfect or not. They care that you're doing the best you can. So when you've got those factors working together, that's the foundation of people finding out about you, people being happy to send people to you, people being just, when they think of you, they're like, oh, I love that organization. Is you want to be doing your best, and then you want to be making sure people know that you're doing your best.
So how do people do it? So if there's an independent support worker or a new service provider starting up with the NDIS, how do they market themselves to make themselves appealable to people with disabilities?
Yeah, number one, tell the truth. Always tell the truth. Okay, so if you're a new provider, like if you're a new support worker, whatever, you've got 2 years of experience, you tell the truth. I have 2 years of experience. And then you find the other ways in which that you do shine. So I have 2 years experience, but I've been an older brother to someone for the last, I don't know, 12 years or whatever. You tell the truth, but highlight that you have a skill set beyond just your qualifications. If you're a super experienced provider, you tell the truth. The truth is you've been doing this for X number of years. You've been helping, 250 participants, and you know what works. You always just tell the truth. And when you tell the truth, and when you don't try and act like someone you're not, when you try and be you, who's telling the truth, and when you genuinely do want to help, the hard work's already done for you.
Yes. Have you come across a lot of businesses or support workers that what their biggest mistakes are when they market themselves? I mean, you just spoke about telling the truth. What other things that they can do to identify what they need?
Yeah, totally. So the big mistake that I see people making a lot in 2025 is they're trying to look bigger than they are. They're trying to be more professional or something than they are. Okay. If, like, I know someone, for example, who's got a team of 5, and when I first started working with them, they were trying to look like McDonald's. It's like, hold on, but you're not McDonald's. Don't be something you're not. That would be like the local hamburger shop pretending to be McDonald's. It's like the hamburger shop is better than McDonald's because it's local and small, and the person there knows your name. Okay. So if you're small, be small. If you're medium, be medium. If your niche, your area where you best serve people is, say, people with, say, acquired brain injury, then you talk about that, and you don't try and pretend you're everything. You talk about what you're good at. Again, it's telling the truth. And avoid, I see a lot of people, I do a lot of websites for people in NDIS, and initially people always want to copy the big players. They want their website to look like someone huge. Well, that's just like the hamburger shop trying to look like McDonald's. Don't be McDonald's. Be the hamburger shop. Be the personal ones. Be you. Be real. And so I think one of the big mistakes would be that they're trying to look like something where they're not, and they think it's because they think it's because people want them to look big. People don't want to be part of a giant organization that's got 1,000 participants. They want to be part of someone where the director knows their son or daughter's name. So be real, be as personal as you can be, and tell true stories of ways that you help people, and but just avoid that big trap of trying to look bigger than you are. I guess, Jeff, the second trap is people coming across as desperate. So you and I connected on LinkedIn. It was LinkedIn that we connected on, wasn't it?
Yes. Yep.
Awesome. Okay, we connected on LinkedIn because I like the work that you're doing, and you obviously like the work I'm doing. There's a natural connection there, and we're just real with each other. You know, you mentioned to me, Michael, it's easier for you to easier for me if you email than send a text in LinkedIn. I'm like, no worries, I can do that. Like, there's a level of real there. And I asked you before we started talking today, what do your people need to understand? What do they need to hear? And I'll do that. So there's a level of real. But what I see a lot of people in the early or mid stages of an NDIS business doing accidentally is they're not being real. They're trying to look professional. They're talking like they're Centrelink. Hi, I am an ethical provider, and we are trauma informed and person centered. And I'm like, what the hell? You know, just
Yep.
talk. Yeah, just be
Yeah.
real.
I find a lot of the places that I visit on YouTube or the internet, and they talk about the services they provide, and it's just a word salad. I'm like, what the hell are they? What do they mean when they say all that?
That's right. What does trauma informed even mean? I don't know. What's person centered mean? Was that a word 100 years ago? No. Was it a word 10 years ago? Probably not. It's weird crap. Like, just say we care about people. But the other thing is, Jeff, you don't just say we care about people, you demonstrate. We care about people by, at the end of every session, your mum gets a text message. Or at the end of every session, you know, we give you a little guy, you know, a really small present like a toy car or something, and we give them a task to do so that after they've done that task, mum can give them the toy car. In other words, like you just find what it is that you do that's different, that demonstrates that you care, and you provide proof instead of words.
Because I think a lot of I've been on a lot of government websites, and they're huge on double talk and using these big words that they know the meaning of, that the general community doesn't. And I've sort of I've got a support worker here, Chris. He used to work in the federal government, so I turned to him and said, "What the hell do they mean when they're talking about that?" Then all of a sudden, the service providers and the independent support workers are using those double meanings and those words that I don't know what they're talking about.
No. And that's the hamburger shop trying to be McDonald's. Instead, they just need to be secure about what they're about and what they offer and how they help. Okay, so anytime you're using language with people, whether it's on a website, whether it's on a LinkedIn post, anytime you're using language with someone that you wouldn't use if you were in a cafe, we're already missing the mark. Every word you and I have spoken to each other has been what we would say if we were in a cafe. If I start trying to impress you with, oh, the search engine optimization, like all I'm doing is messing up a relationship. My job is to communicate with you in a way that both you and I understand what I'm about and what my motives are. And it's the same with new providers. It's the same with existing providers. The problem is a lot of these websites are written by people in middle management who are just trying to look like everyone else because that's how they got to their job. But if you talk to the director at the top or the support coordinators who are delivering the services, they talk like they're in a cafe, and mums and dads talk like they're in a cafe. So that's why we need to talk like we're in a cafe. I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, it just makes life that much harder, and it makes, because we mentioned before, it makes it harder for people with disabilities who are looking for independent support workers or a new service provider if they're not happy with the current ones. How do we look between all those bits of marketing that's put out so we can actually focus on what we need to access through those people? So how do we look through that?
Yeah, very clever question. So what we want is every participant listening or every family member or supporting person of a participant listening to understand how to look at, say, a website or someone's persona or how they come across and be able to distinguish truth from marketing. Okay. So, for example, if you look at me, I'm wearing a polo shirt, just like you're wearing a jacket. Neither of us really care about our appearances. We're more important about helping. We're more focused on helping people. And so, and when you and I are talking, neither one of us are using fancy words to try and demonstrate how amazing we are. Okay. I'm using my accent from when I grew up in Queensland out west. I don't care. Do you know what I mean? There's a
Yep.
realness. Yeah. And when you look at someone's website, what the real question you look at when their website is, you need to understand that is not a reflection of who they are. It's probably something they built 2 years ago at a time when they were very new and feeling very insecure. So we can't rule people out by the fact that their website is full of, I don't know, photos of someone in a wheelchair at the beach at dawn with their hands in the air, smiling. Okay? Like weird crap like that on a website, it doesn't disqualify them from being good, but it's certainly not helping their cause. What we need to do is dig past the gloss and actually talk to some people on the phone. Okay? Like it's not the website that tells you if they're good or not. I will never produce a website that looks like that because it would be embarrassing and it would be the opposite of what I'm about. But it doesn't mean someone who does poor marketing is bad. You need to bypass those layers and get to talk to someone on the phone. Not just talk to their phone reception person, talk to their director, talk to their operations manager. Be really bold about, you know what, there's a couple other people I want to talk to in your organization. Who can I talk to? If their middle management doesn't want to talk to you, well, they've just answered your question for you. They're not for you. Okay. And if when they're talking to you, they're more about telling you how good they are, then what you're dealing with is not necessarily a bad provider, but an insecure provider, because their job on the phone is to listen to you, listen to you, listen to you. Okay. So really that first phone call, you would expect that first phone call to be 15 minutes. You'd be expecting it to be someone who speaks Australian English and who understands NDIS. Unless it's like the work experience, person who's just new, cut them some slack if so. But you want to cut through the marketing and get straight to the people because the people are where it's at. Now, when you talk to the people, you can't just believe their words or how they come across. You have to believe what your gut feeling is. So when I chat with you, Jeff, your gut, the gut feeling I have is that, mate, here's a guy he's got runs on the board. He cares about people. He's looking to get his 1,000 subscribers. He's doing his thing day to day. He cares. Now, I didn't pick that up from what you said. I didn't pick it up from some glossy website. It's just obvious when I chat with you, that's my gut feeling. And I think when we're looking to choose support or when we're looking to choose an NDIS provider, we need to tap into what our gut feeling is. If your gut feeling on someone is that they're not great, just end the call early. Wrap up. Do not proceed because you have a million options. Don't settle for not great.
Okay. Well, that's good advice. Like you said, I like to get to the point. I like people to be extremely truthful with me. I don't call the bull that people go on with. I straight out, if I ask a question, just answer it. I don't need, I don't need a political analysis of, everything that's being offered as in a service. I just want the basics and I want the truth.
Yeah. And if you have to dig for the truth or work hard to get to the truth, that organization has already told you they don't have the truth. I mean, there's a difference between someone being insecure or clueless versus someone who is actually more about themselves than others. And you know when you hang out with someone if they're about themselves or not. So it's cutting through those layers. So the whole thing with marketing is like when people ask me, what do you do for a living? I'm like, well, I help NDIS providers be really clear about what they do and how they do it so that the right people come to them. Because that's a much nicer thing to say than to say, hi, I do NDIS marketing. Because when people think of marketing, they think of, snake oil and used car salesman, apologies to used car salesman out there. And it's like, I have to just tell the truth. My job is I spend a lot of hours every week sitting on LinkedIn, writing random posts about how to get the word out. I spend a lot of other hours each week doing websites for people so that we can get rid of their photo of the person in a wheelchair at the beach at dawn with their arms in the air and just replace it with a photo of there's Jeff with one of the participants, or if they don't want the participants in it, there's Jeff with another support worker, and here's what they're doing. They're cutting up carrots at the bench top. Just get the real out there. And so really what we're doing here in NDIS world, we must be real with people. We must be honest. Because if we're anything less than honest, eventually people will see through us anyway. So I've made so many mistakes. I cannot tell you how many mistakes I've made on people's websites or on LinkedIn posts I've done. I make so many mistakes. You can make mistakes. It doesn't matter. You just fix them. No one cares. You just be honest. Hey, I stuffed this up. Let me go and fix that for you. And they're like, hey, it's been 2 months since you made our website for us and you just picked that up now. I'm like, yep, I'm sorry. Let me fix that now for you. It's a tiny detail, but to me it matters. I'm happy to own my crap when I stuff things up. Those are the people you want to find. they're out there. The support workers are like that. There are support coordinators like that. There are I'd say there's plan managers out there like that, but I haven't met any. Okay, but there's plenty of good people out there who would just love to help you and who'll be real and honest, and they're the people you want on your side. And it doesn't matter if they've only got 2 years of experience at support work. If they're real and if they're themselves and if they're fun and if they're off their freaking mobile phone just to chat with you, they're the people you want.
Exactly. Like you said, with the pictures of the person in a wheelchair at the beach holding on, if I come across that, I'd just dismiss it straight away because it's patronising in my point of view.
It is
So I just,
patronising. Yeah.
it is, and some of these weird names they come out with, you know, something to do with accessibility, just have a word play on different,
Yeah.
I find that a little bit patronising as well.
Well, it is patronising, but at the same time, we also want to see through that. Were they trying to be patronising, or did they give it to the work experience kid? Or are they a new provider who doesn't have a clue what to do on a website, and that was the best that they had because they went and copied someone else's bad website? And it's the same with other aspects. When we're trying to pick out a good provider, we've got to see through, hold on, are they evil or are they insecure? Are they useless or are they bad at explaining stuff? But if you have to work too hard to get through that stuff, I mean, you can only do with so many wheelchair photos at the beach at dawn. You know what I mean? I'm with
Yeah,
you on that.
yeah. I know. I think there's a lot of people like that. They'll just, you know, skip over, go to the next one.
And so they
But,
should, because if the
yeah,
next one's being really in depth, I guess that raises another question. How do you do a website, or how do you do promotions for your business, or how do you do LinkedIn that people will connect with and want to choose you? It's like, how about we ask you, like, what do you look for when you look at a website to determine whether or not you even want to give them a call?
I like my information in plain English, straight to the point, no word salad, especially governmental word salad.
Yep.
You know, yeah, that's the hardest thing for me. You just mentioned there a minute ago, with their websites, are they inexperienced? I never thought of it, them being inexperienced. I thought, if they're spending money on a website, then they would get someone who's good at creating websites and marketing and have all the right, correct phrases and wordings.
Yeah,
So,
you would assume that. Yeah.
so I never thought of that until you mentioned it. It sort of, never occurred to me.
No,
But
but it makes sense, doesn't it? Like, people
yeah,
are driven, like, they okay, what is it? Today's, it's a Wednesday. I'm sitting here with you. I've probably only done about 20 podcasts before. I could be feeling insecure. I'm not, because you're such a relaxed guy, but I could be feeling insecure. And if I'm feeling insecure, that might throw me back to word salad and trying to impress people. And so we want to try and distinguish between, are they insecure or are they actually just, they don't care? And like, say with websites, you're saying someone, if they've gone to the effort of a website, surely they found someone who was good and they paid for that. Well, it depends. Some people will pay someone in Bangladesh or Kazakhstan $500 and get a website, but they sure as heck don't know how to do an NDIS website. So that's where you get your hands in the air at dawn at the beach in your wheelchair. Or they can go and pay someone in Australia. Great. But does that person even understand NDIS? Probably not. And then they're going to get word salad because they use just ChatGPT instead of actually humans. Or someone who's paying someone like, say, myself, or another great web guy in Australia is Greg Chadwick. Another outstanding one is Chris Lapper. Any one of us three, we've done so many NDIS things that we can talk to a support coordinator and not get confused. That's how much we've done. So you want someone like that, but someone like that's going to cost a lot more than, your person in Bangladesh. So it depends. A new provider with a limited budget, they often end up with the person in Bangladesh creating a very generic, boring word salad website. But there's no excuse for that once you've got, say, 20 or 30 participants.
yeah. So what kind of things, as someone who does marketing, what kind of things would you put up as like keywords?
Yeah. Basically, you just want your website to give advice. All the technical stuff on a website, it's It's technical. Who cares? But what matters is you want to give advice. So I did a website for a physiotherapist a couple of months ago, and he's in his late 20s. When you look at him, you're like, would he really be able to solve my problems? So what we did is we did heaps of pages of advice where he's giving his best advice, how to help old people recover from falls, how to help old people not fall, how to get prepared for a surgery, how to recover after a surgery. We did heaps of pages of advice. And obviously you've got your home page and your about page and whatever your services are, but you give lots of advice. And then that demonstrates to people that you're trustworthy. Or I did another website for a group, a fairly large organization. They do about 15 services, but it wasn't just here's our services with photos. It's here's our best advice on how to choose the right services for you. As soon as you're sitting with someone and they're giving you advice, it feels like they're on your side, and they are. They're helping you make good choices. So anytime you're doing a website, don't just stick to the same boring crap that everyone else does, and instead give advice. And in fact, be courageous. If I'm let's imagine if I'm running a support coordinator business, I should be giving advice of, all right, how you tell a great support coordinator from a good one, how you tell a good support coordinator from a rubbish one. Like, list out the criteria of how people should choose. And by the fact that you're listing out that criteria, you win the game. So I think the number one thing is give advice, give good, clear advice, have real photos of your real staff, and don't do word salad, just tell the truth. And the truth generally for people is, hey, we help people with whatever it is they help with. We help people with this, and here are the steps that we take to help them. And if you want a hand, get in touch with us. We're happy to chat. Really, that's all you need to know. And then you need to keep out of that website, or out of, it might be your LinkedIn post or your Facebook post, whatever. Keep out of it any terminology. We do not want the word person-centered anywhere. We do not want to hear how, I don't know, trauma-informed or freaking ethical you are. Ethical just means I don't cheat. Honestly, would you go and play sport with people if the first thing they said to you is, hi, I'm an ethical sports player? You'd be like, hi, I'm normal. Like, that's just a weird thing to say to people.
It is, yeah.
But you got people going, we're ethical providers. Like, it's like saying, hi, I'm not a criminal. Like, that's all it's saying. So yeah, just tell the truth, be clear, explain the process, give good advice, and keep the crap out of it.
So if you're working, say a support worker or a service provider, and you've had some experience of working with people with cognitive impairment, and you're trying to reach out to those people that type of disability with a cognitive impairment, what is the best way to do that?
Tell the truth and give real examples. Give case studies. So in an organization I used to work for, we would help teenagers with autism learn social skills. And it was a very in-depth process. And when we talked to people on the phone about what we did, we would have to explain, yes, sure, we can help your son. Your son is very similar to someone who's in one of my groups, and here's what we've done to help him. And for your son, he might need something different, but these are the sort of steps that we take to try and work out what he needs, and then we give him that. And you be real. It's the first session. I would say to parents, the first session he may not enjoy, because I'm just trying to work out what he needs, and I will hit some wrong buttons, and I will talk about dinosaurs instead of Minecraft. But by the third or fourth session, he'll feel like he's got someone who's so on his side. And you just explain that process. And by explaining the process and not hiding it, I'm not going to hide the first session could be not fun. He's already escalated or in a heightened state before I even meet him. It may not be great, but if you can give me what I need, if I need to know he loves Minecraft and that he loves chicken nuggets, I'm just going to talk about making chicken nuggets in Minecraft all day, and we'll get through that. And so you explain the process, warts and all. You don't try and look perfect. You just try and be real, because that mum on the phone, she's frazzled. She's hit 100 brick walls. That's why she's calling you. All she wants is the truth. And so I think for people listening is, like, if you talk to someone, they're not talking like that, or if their website isn't talking like that, or if somehow you feel like they're trying to prove themselves instead of be helpful, they're red flags. You could potentially push past it if it's just insecurity or inexperience or something, but always trust your gut. And so if you're putting on a website and you're putting yourself forward, it's not like you got stage fright. You got time. You got time to think through what you're going to say. Work out what is the most intelligent, helpful things you can say. Be opinionated. If say people with cognitive impairment is your area, you give heaps of advice about that, heaps of case studies about that, and don't pretend that you're great at helping someone with high needs physical disabilities if you don't have experience with it. Just focus on what you do have experience with, because there's 100 providers who are trying to be everything. We don't need another 100 everything providers. We need someone who's going to help that teenage guys with autism or people with acquired brain injury in their 20s. Okay, you be awesome at you, and you watch the rest look after itself.
Great advice. That's really well said. What do we do? Is it? Let's not phrase it. If somebody puts some of their marketing out on the website or flyers or whatever, and they make a statement that is wrong, do you go to that person or that organisation and tell them, or do you just let it go and just tell your friends?
Well, to be honest, I sort of view this a bit differently to how a lot of other people would. Okay, every day I come across things that are just so unhelpful, and often things that are untruthful, and I see things that are really disappointing. But I'm not the police, and I'm not God. So for me, it's like if there's someone in my sphere of influence who's going to be impacted by that, I'll let them know. But generally speaking, if someone's doing something silly, they're one of a billion people doing something silly. It's not my responsibility. My responsibility is to do me well and do the work I do for other people really, really well, and not get caught up on side quests. Now, this is different from, say, someone who is at home and who only works, say, 10 hours a week or whatever. They've got more time than me. But because my time is limited, I can do more good by going and having a chat with you on this podcast than I can by pursuing one person who's not going to listen anyway. Okay, so for me, I'm like, well, what is in my influence? What is in my influence is to go and do some good over here, and that'll counterbalance the negativity that's over there. Does that make sense?
It does, yep.
Yeah.
Because I know through my own experiences, when you get new support workers who just come into the industry, they come in think they're going to save the world and they're going to save this person and save that person and make everything better. But in reality, it's not like that.
It's not like that. It's grueling. It's step by step. It's every day feeling the same. It's 80%, to be honest, unexcitement and 20% actual useful things. It's the daily choice, or that every 10-minute choice, to not pick up your phone and just start scrolling because it just feels too hard to interact. It's the little things. But what we need is that passion and enthusiasm that our younger support workers have, or that the new person stepping in has. We need that, because otherwise NDIS is a very jaded place at best of times. Ever more, like now more than ever. People are tired, people are exhausted. Caring for people is emotionally draining, and caring for people while you feel like you're fighting against the price guide and you're fighting against some new rule that's come in or whatever. It's so difficult. So we need that enthusiasm. What we need to do is make sure that our younger people are not feeling looked down on, are not feeling like they're just thrown in the deep end, expected to know. We need to mentor them. And the thing is, when your website says, hey, we mentor your son or daughter, we also mentor adults, even our staff get mentoring, suddenly people are starting to see the culture. The culture of this place is they care about people. Now, instead of writing in words, hi, I'm from Boring Care and we care about people. Instead of that, it's like, hi, I'm from whatever care and we have a culture here of mentoring people, because you are bigger than your disability. You are bigger than the choices you made last week. You are bigger than the last session that you had that went really wrong. Okay? We're here about mentoring and growing and doing life with people. I'd fall over myself if someone just makes a website that says that, and everyone else would too. But then the other thing is, it's not just your website. Like 2 years ago, everything that mattered was your website. Right now, what really matters, if you're an NDIS provider or you're in the NDIS industry, what really matters right now is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is like an absolute gold mine of relationships you can build with others. You can't build those relationships on Facebook. It's full of ads. You can't build it on Instagram. It's full of people who want to show you how good they are. But LinkedIn is the one place that it sort of self-polices. When people are weird or salesy, everyone ignores them. Even the LinkedIn algorithm, the computer ignores them. Okay, so LinkedIn is the one place you can go and where you turn up as you be as real as can be, and you be as helpful as you can be. And it's not like you get a result in a day, but I've been using LinkedIn for 7 months, and I literally get 90% of my work from people saying, hey, you need to talk to Michael. And then someone gets in touch with me and says, oh, so-and-so said I need to talk to Michael. My work comes because I just turn up and I'll be helpful. And I probably put in 20% of my work time is just me being helpful, expecting zero in return, and just having fun on LinkedIn, to be honest. And because I do that, I've helped a lot of people, and then people send people to me. Now, that's no different from anyone else. If people want a place to be helpful and get the word out about what they do, LinkedIn is your place. So I feel like LinkedIn is the one place that has been so overlooked by 90% of providers because they're so busy with their website or Facebook or turning up to a networking event. It's like, guys, just go on LinkedIn. It is such an amazing place of connection.
I've found it to be a really great tool.
What is it that you use it for? Like, how do you connect with people? Not just broadcast about yourself, but how do you connect with people on LinkedIn?
We go through and look at different connections that I have. Or if I connect with someone, then I can go through, look at their connections, and find things that appeal to me or interest me. I do it that way. And I just also link up with complete strangers if they sound interesting. If they sound interesting, I send a link request. It's as simple as that.
And they'll say yes, because who's going to reject you? Because they can see who you are and what you're about.
Yeah. Like you said, I think I've been using screen readers for 20 odd years. LinkedIn, in my opinion, is probably the best platform I've found to link up with other people, even complete strangers. It's been a great source of information. I've met and established a lot of good relationships through LinkedIn. I've got so much information, you would not believe the information I've got out of LinkedIn. If you find someone, you click on their profile, you can go back through all their posts, see what they posted, a month ago or a year ago or 2 years ago. And you can track their progress over that time as well. So it's a really, in my opinion, it's probably the best tool that I've accessed in the last 10, 15 years.
It is an absolute gift. And it's amazing how you can find your people and it's not cluttered by ads. It's not cluttered by the noise of people trying to impress. Like if I look back in the last week, I would have probably sent or received at least 100 messages from people on LinkedIn, just helping them or them helping me, so, or even just connecting about something to help someone else. It is the most helpful place in the history of the world. And it's a place where you can go and be yourself. So I struggle with my own self-confidence sometimes. I struggle with my own sense of self-righteousness, like, oh, I'm better than that provider, or I struggle with my own sense of, am I actually achieving anything here, or should I, go and get a job at Coles? It's like, I struggle with that. But on LinkedIn, I can go there and it's like, all I'm doing is helping people. So all the self-consciousness just falls off me. All that sense of the negative forms of pride just fall off me because I'm there to help. And there's times I feel tempted to go and do something self-promoting, and it's like, well, I don't even want to do that. I run a LinkedIn course. It helps so many providers. It trains their BDMs. It pays for itself so many times over, pretty much BDMs and managing directors. I don't even promote it because I feel awkward about promoting it. I can't turn up to a helpful place and say, buy my stuff. I wouldn't say that at a cafe. At a cafe, I'd turn up there and someone would be like, hey, Michael, are you still doing that stuff where you help BDMs to be good at their job? I'm like, yeah, I do actually. It's a natural conversation. It's the opposite of other places. But LinkedIn is a place where you can turn up and try and be professional and use word salad, or you can turn up and be you. And I think if you turn up and be you, people like you, Jeff, are going to come across you, or I'm going to come across you, and we're going to find ways to help each other. A lot of the ways that I help people on LinkedIn, to be honest, is I'm like, hey, I see what you're struggling with. You need to talk to Paul Bryan. Or I see what you're struggling with. You need to talk to Amy Gray. Or I see what you're struggling with. You need to talk to David Dinker. And then I just link them up in a 3-way chat and then hop out of their way. Just help them. And I find joy in that, because we don't have to be perfect on LinkedIn. We don't have to be impressive. And if we can take that same mindset and apply it to our website, apply it to who we are in person at a networking event, if we can just be us, and if we are genuinely there to help, which I would say 90-something, probably 95+% of people in NDIS are, just be you, be helpful. People will love it. And then you'll go home at the end of the day knowing I made an impact today. But LinkedIn is the wonderland. LinkedIn is where you want to be if you're not there yet.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've had a lot of people reach out to me asking for advice, and I've given advice, things that I know, or I refer them off to another organisation like Carers Australia, or the local neighbourhood centre where they offer no interest loans and things like that. That's how I help people who contact me.
That's brilliant. That's amazing.
I mean, help people all over the country. I spoke to the Assistant Police Commissioner here in New South Wales about the police training to interact with people with disabilities. I interviewed Judy Harper from the Justice Advocacy Service. I'm interviewing Senator Abigail Boyd on the 2nd of July. I've interviewed Christopher Widows. You remember Steady Eddie?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was one of my first interviews. He was great. I've interviewed a lot of people, and I've got a lot of feedback through those interviews. Because you've met Chris, my support workers helped me today. We put the live stream link into LinkedIn. We put my other videos in LinkedIn occasionally to try and help people. I do this because I want to help other people. Because when I first got sick in '89, I was flown from where I live in Armidale to Sydney, and I came back after 5-6 months. And a good friend of mine who I'd known for a long time said, "Oh, can I come over?" I said, "Yeah, it's fine." And the information he gave me would have saved me 2 or 3 years.
Wow, that's so good.
Yeah, of my own research and how, what to do, what not to do, what to say, what not to say. And that's what I want to try and do to help other people, is cut out all the crap and get this straight from A to B.
I think that's just remarkable. And we're all trying to help people in our own way. So what was that guy's name who helped you at Armidale?
Steve.
Okay.
Austin, yeah.
I hope like hell he's listening. Okay, so we're all trying to be Steve in some way. So any way that we can help someone, we're cutting off their learning curve, making it so that they get where they need to go sooner. So if you look at, say, I run a LinkedIn course and it's 7 weeks. I can show someone in 7 weeks what took me 7 months to learn. And I spend at least 5 or 10 hours a week learning stuff about LinkedIn. In 7 weeks, for you to get there, that's massive. Your support worker, he's helping you get further faster with your podcast so that you can be more influential and help more people. Everyone's out there trying to be that. But the thing is that we lose sight of that because we get this scarcity mindset that, there's not enough. There's always enough. Okay, we just need to find it. Okay, we get this mindset of the system's not fair. It's like, no, it's not fair, but I'm grateful to live in Australia. We get all these negative mindsets, but the truth is we're all out here trying to help people. I used to be an NDIS provider. I was so proud of that, but that season's over for me now. But I still get to help people because I get to pick and choose which providers I work for the people who I can see are giving it their best crack. But it's like, I feel like whenever we start talking about the marketing things we talked about earlier, we've already lost the point of life. What am I here for? I'm here to be a husband. I'm here to be a dad. I'm here to be someone who is kind to others. I'm here to have coffee with a mate tomorrow night because he's having a hard time. That's what we're here for. We're all put on this planet for a purpose and a reason. And so where we get lost is we lose sight of that and think that we're here to prove ourselves. And so you've been put on this planet for a reason. I've been put on this planet for a reason. Who are we going to help? And so when it comes to any of our marketing, any of our trying to get the word out about what we do as an NDIS provider, you just go and be wholeheartedly helpful. You be helpful on your website by giving good advice. You be helpful on your LinkedIn by showing people what life looks like for you. So I do a lot of LinkedIn posts around here's what to look for in a website, here's what to avoid. Here's how to not get scammed. Okay, because I sometimes do audits of people's websites or audits of their SEO, search engine optimization. And 9 of the last 10 people I've audited were getting either scammed or having their money completely wasted. That's me helping. So then I'll go and put that as a post on LinkedIn. Here's what I look for so that you don't even need to contact me if you don't want. So it's like there are ways we can help others. But as soon as we think it's about us, that's when we fail as humans. As soon as we think it's about us, that's when our marketing fails. Just get out there and be helpful and do things that work. And we won't always live up to our own expectations of ourselves. We will often fail. We'll often get tired or be half-hearted or just plain selfish. It doesn't change that tomorrow's a new day. How can we be helpful? And if you have that approach on your website, have that approach on your LinkedIn, have that approach in real life, have that approach in your family, life just seems to work.
Yep. You said before you used to be a NDIS provider.
Yeah.
What do you think the biggest failure of the NDIS is?
That question's there is an answer for that, but there are some questions that are helpful and some questions that are demoralizing. There's 100 failures with NDIS. Right now, the challenge we're facing is that I think we're going to be saying goodbye to allied health traveling to people who genuinely need it. Okay, so if you've got a really serious physical challenge, you need your OT to come and see what your bathroom looks like and help you get the shower set up properly. Okay, you need that. But that sort of stuff's disappearing very fast with the new travel rules and stuff like that. But there's always going to be 100 reasons why it's not good. I feel demoralized by the fact there's so much negativity. Oh, NDIS providers are rotting money. It's like, where? I work for about 20. I've worked for probably 20 or 30 NDIS providers this year. And I would say that every one of them except for one is amazing. Okay, that one I no longer work for because they don't fit my values. But they're amazing. Why are there negative news articles about someone who's rubbish when there's so many amazing people? But it's like I wouldn't be so worried about what's wrong with the NDIS. I'd be worried about what is in my sphere of influence to help it. So for you, what's in your sphere of influence is you do this podcast, you get the word out there, and you talk to those political leaders about what they need to know. That is right what you're built for. What's in my sphere of influence? My sphere of influence is finding NDIS providers who are good at their craft, but not good at finding new participants or not good at getting referrals and equipping them so that their business can grow. Because if the good businesses grow, we've won the game. So that's in my sphere of influence. There's 100 things wrong with the NDIS, but there's also the fact that we have an NDIS is a blessing in itself. So
Yeah.
I think there's 100 things wrong with it, but I choose to not focus on that. Does that make any sense?
It does, but the reason I ask is because when you spoke about the allied health not going out to visit people. Now, I interviewed Professor John Gilroy. I think that's my best podcast, best interview. He teaches Aboriginal health and disabilities at Sydney University, and he travelled out through Northern Territory, Central Australia, to remote communities. And the things that he mentioned, I sort of knew of, and I wanted to highlight those issues. Like people out, Aboriginal people out there who are in wheelchairs, the bearing seize up because of the fine dust. It takes anywhere from 18 months to 2 years to get an OT out there. Then they come back, then they write out the report and they send it in. Then it's another 18 months, 2 years before somebody else comes out to have a look at the wheelchair. It's such a huge area that needs improving on.
It's off the planet, and there are people dying. Okay, that's a wheelchair issue. There's people who are literally dying, and it's not good. But the reality is, you've got a funding issue on one side of there's this much money to go around, and you've got a people's needs issues on the other side, and the needs outstrip the funding by a mile, and that imbalance is always going to be there, which means people are always going to miss out. And And the hard bit is not being demoralized. So I remember when I first started working with teens with autism, I would work with them and I'd also work with their families. And I remember chatting to a friend of mine. He was the pastor at a church. And I said to him, how do you deal with this day-to-day challenge? I feel a bit torn up because I see the pain that these families are in. I see the pain that these young guys are in. And he said to me, Michael, if you let that be bigger than what you're helping, you've missed it. And he's like, Michael, maybe you need to talk to someone and get some support. Or maybe you need to shift your focus onto what can you do? You can't change that mother's pain, but what you can do is make sure that her son for an hour or two gets out, learns a few skills. And I'm like, okay, does that make sense? It's the
Absolutely.
demoralization that's the danger.
And that's what Professor John Gilroy is talking about. That the NDIS has actually dehumanised people with disabilities. Look, the interview goes through now. He's really insightful, very articulate, very knowledgeable, and like I said, he's probably been my best interviewer.
I think I need to listen to that interview. He sounds like the sort of guy I could learn so much from.
Absolutely, and I don't know why. The government's not hooking up with him to help resolve these issues. But again, I mean, that's probably a marketing failure by the NDIS. This is what we're doing right. We've got 19% of our workforce has a disability. They don't advertise that. They don't talk about it. They don't talk about all the things they have got right because everybody's focused on the negative things. And I try and do both. But we've got to acknowledge the good and the bad, and we need to talk about both.
It's hard though, because what you're saying is we need to actually talk about both. I don't think NDI talks about the negative. They just hide the narrative of the negative. Instead, like the way we solve things in a democracy is we look at the pros and the cons and we work together to get to solutions. But what we have at the moment is a situation where people in general, as a society, we've lost the ability to work together to solutions. We're all polarized. It's like there is a reason that wheelchair has not been fixed for 2 years out in the middle of the desert. If we could work together instead of blaming or trying to use that to further our agenda, we would win the game. And going back to your earlier questions about marketing, it's like this is where on LinkedIn people break the mold. Like they break things accidentally by going, oh, here's an issue. Oh, but look how good I am. They're using an issue to further their agenda. It won't work on LinkedIn. It won't work on your website. Tell the truth. It's all back to tell the truth. The truth is that wheelchair issue that you just described is a disaster and it should never have happened. We just need to tell the truth.
Yes. And admit it when you make a mistake. Put your hand up. I do it all the time. When I make mistakes, I belong to different committees. And, if I make a statement I'm wrong, I'll say, all right.
That's good.
I was wrong. I apologize. Can we move on?
See, that's got integrity. But then again, you're not a 25-year-old young lady who's a support worker trying to help someone who she feels is out of her range. So you've got security versus insecurity. Just like with websites, you got security. Hey, we specialize in, XYZ and nothing else. There's a security in doing that. In the same way with you as a person, you're old enough to have a pretty decent sense of security about who you are and what you do. And from life experience that if you just own a mistake, the problem gets solved. Easy, or sort of maybe easy, maybe not, but either way it gets solved. It's like sometimes we're looking at people going, they're just terrible at this or terrible at that, or they're terrible people, when really they're just insecure as can be, because what we don't know is that their dad left home when they were 10 and no one told him that he's got worth and value, or that her mum died when she was 15 and she's felt lost ever since and she's still dealing with deep grief and she's 23. We don't see that. So instead we just judge each other. And that's not helping our cause. And NDIS should be the least judgy place on the planet. But the truth is we're all people and we don't cut each other slack. We don't, like, the scarcity mindset of, there's not enough money to go around, or there's not enough funding, or there's not enough OTs who'll travel to the center of Australia. It's a hard thing to deal with. But what we have with the NDIS is an imperfect system run by imperfect people, staffed by imperfect providers, but most of them are giving it their best crack. But man, they're just drained. They're worn out. They're burned out. They're giving it their best crack. It's a tough deal. So I think giving people credit where it's due and calling out the crap where it's crap. Just call it out for what it is, but give so much credit where it's due. I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, good advice. Yeah, I don't think there's much more I could ask about marketing, but touching on, like you mentioned, younger people coming into the industry as support workers. Like I said before, a lot of them come in think they're going to save the person and they're going to be their
Yep.
best friend, and it doesn't work out like that, and it burns the participant badly. I've read people post on, um, don't be a friend, be my support worker. I don't want your friendship. And I think, well, he must have got burnt really badly to have that attitude. So, how can younger people market themselves who don't have a lot of experience? And I know you said we covered this, and you said, be honest. But I think there's still that little bit of marketing that they can use to help get themselves out there to reach the right person. Like you said, you won't cover everyone, but you might find one or two that you can help.
Absolutely,
But
definitely. If I was a 21-year-old support worker and I was brand new to it, okay, I would go and put posters up at every shop within a 15-minute drive from my place. And the posters would say, I'm a support worker. I will listen to your son or daughter. I will not touch my mobile phone. And I've been an older brother for the last 17 of my 21 years. Here's my number. If you put that poster up in 100 spots, I guarantee you are going to get more work than you can handle, because you told the truth. You went out there and told them that you meet a need they have. They need a support worker who's not on their phone. You're meeting that need, and you showed that you are wanting to give it your best crack. Okay, I'd put it on fluoro-colored paper, and I'd just go and I'd put so many out there that the world thought I was littering. The work will come to you. So it's like there's always a way. Step one, if you're new to stuff, is get in touch with someone who's been there, done that. Ask them how they did it. Like, people can find me on LinkedIn really easily, Michael Clark, or look for Athletic Koala on LinkedIn and you'll find me. Or go to the Athletic Koala website. That's the name of the company I run. And you'll find me. I'm happy to share knowledge with people. I do it for people all the time. And I'm one of thousands of people who would love to help you. So step one, get good advice. But step two, just go and take action. And that action would be tell the truth, demonstrate that you have good motives, and give them what they need. You can do that. So yeah, get out there and do it.
Yeah, I think Chris has posted your LinkedIn profile in the comment section on
Thanks,
YouTube.
Chris. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So Athletic Koala, where'd that come from?
Well, I just needed a name that people would remember. Okay. And people remember animals. Yeah. I've never seen an athletic koala. Okay. I'm like, that sounds really quirky. At the time, I was also doing some stuff overseas as well. And I wanted people to know that I'm from Australia. And that was a way of saying I'm from a country that speaks English as a first language. Okay. But really, I just want something quirky and weird. And I couldn't think of anything quirkier. That's what happened.
It's a good one. Yeah. Yeah. It grabs people's attention.
And again, it's being real. If you are real with people, you win. So just be real. And I am a quirky guy. I have a quirky sense of humor. Everyone I work with, I work with a really small team of like 5 people. They and I, we do quirky things. We hang out. We're not trying to be someone else. And again, like if you're starting out, be you. You could even write on that poster, hey, I'm a bit quirky myself. I like dad jokes. Okay, you'll be amazed what comes of just being real.
Yeah, no, I agree. Is there anything you'd like to mention or talk about while you got the opportunity?
Well, totally. I'd love to just encourage people. Okay, I think that it's very easy to look at the half-filled cup and go, it's half empty. Okay, but I believe that the glass is always half filled. I believe that because I believe every one of us is on this planet for a purpose and a reason, and we're going to do something useful with our lives to help others. Okay, we are all here to do something useful. And it's not that we're going to do something useful every day, but our overall trajectory is going to be, how can I be helpful? How can I be of service? Okay, and so I think in NDIS world, we need to get past the media headlines and the sense of discouragement. I work for a lot of, say, physios, OTs, speech therapists, or work with a lot of those guys, and they're very uptight about the new price guide. And there's so much negativity there, but you know what? The glass is still half full. We still have an NDIS. We still are surrounded by people who want to help us. And so I think it would be just to encourage us that, you know what? We are blessed. We are blessed at a level beyond what any previous generation has been blessed with. We're blessed at a level beyond what almost any other country is blessed with. And your life circumstances and my life circumstances, we will go through really hard times. Those hard times shape us and mold us and equip us so that we can help others in the future. But we are blessed and we are lucky and we are privileged. And it's not we have to serve. It's not that I have to go and make a website for someone this afternoon. It's that I get to make a website. It's a privilege. It's not that I have to go, and my next appointment is with a lady helping her. She's a new provider. She's doing the LinkedIn course that I run. She's going so quickly. She's getting so many more participants because I'm showing her how to use LinkedIn to do that. It's not that I have to work with her. It's that I have the privilege of working with her. And I think so much of the time we're missing the mark because our attitude is impacted by the environment we're in, which is a loud, noisy, cranky environment. And I think we forget how blessed we are. For me, it would just be like, if you're a provider out there, for example, take a moment, go and have a piece of toast with Vegemite on it with your daughter, or sit down with your wife and just listen to her for an extra 30 seconds more than you want to when you first walk in the door. Or for your son, literally just ask him about that Lego that he's making. Just ask him. Like, it'll take you 20 seconds or maybe 2 minutes. If you ask me about Minecraft, don't ask me about Minecraft, but ask him how he's going. Just take those moments because we are blessed at a level that we cannot even understand. And I think it's really important that we don't, just because the media sells negativity means we can't get caught up and think that's normal. We need to be positive people because that's what makes NDIS awesome.
Yeah, and I've repeatedly stated over the last couple of years doing YouTube, the NDIS is a privilege. It's not a right. I've also stated, I can do more in a week now with my support staff than I was able to do in 10 years prior to the NDIS. I had nothing. All I had was getting a computer, got bored with it, go watch TV or listen to TV, get bored with that, come back. That's all I was doing. Just alternating between the computer and the TV. And now I'm getting out in the community a lot more and doing these live streams and meeting interesting people like yourself, helping other people. It's been good. It's been great. But you mentioned the media and the stuff they put out, it's so lopsided, one-sided. I'm continually explaining to the average person in the street that the funding that people will get, it doesn't actually go into our bank accounts. It still belongs to the NDIS. We've got to send invoices in. We've got to get them approved. Oh, but you get free holidays and free cruises. And no, somebody's made a mistake. Yes, it's not the norm. That's what the media does. And I get really angry with it.
And so you should. You should, because it's not honest.
No, and I think the worst offender is Sky News. They're just so anti everything.
I hear you. It's like there'd be a pretty big trophy for worst offenders. There'd be like the ultimate competition to try and pick that one. But it's like you're saying, we are blessed, but we're in a noisy environment. It's hard to, and that's why we've got to surround ourselves with amazing people. Like if we're with amazing people, then we're going to have that balanced, because if we don't have the balance of amazing people reminding us how blessed we are, then we're just going to succumb to the environment we're in. And so you become like the 5 people you spend the most time with. Well, let's pick 5 people who are positive. Let's pick 5 people who are inspiring. Let's pick 5 people who are doing something with their lives. Okay. And so, I think it's just so important that we look at how blessed we are and we enjoy what we have. And you know what? If you're a provider who's looking after 3 participants, enjoy that stage of the game. Don't be in a rush to have 30. If you're a provider who has 30 participants, enjoy that stage of the game. It's a very different stage, but don't be in a rush to have 100. You just do well what you can with what you've got and make the moves that you've got to build and to grow. but you just enjoy this part of the journey because you'll never be at this point again. So enjoy it for while you're here. And I'd just love to recognize as well, Jeff, you're doing amazing things. You're helping a lot of people. People are very grateful for you. Most people don't know how to say that, but I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for what you do. I can see that you've taken the hand that you've been dealt and you've turned it into 4 aces in terms of your influence and your impact. So thank you so much for what you do, Jeff.
No, I appreciate that. But yeah, no, it's people like you that who come to these interviews and have this discussion that really helps a lot of people out there. It really does. You may not help 100% of the people. Even if you only reach one person, that's still a great goal.
That's
It's a
right.
great thing to do. Just one person. It changes their life, then it's worthwhile.
Absolutely. And enjoy the journey. Like, life is hard. We spend a lot of time being bitter and angry. If you look at what proportion of our life we spend being dissatisfied or upset, it's enormous. At our age, hopefully we're a bit past that, but we're not.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was actually talking to one of my aunts come up from Sydney yesterday, and we're talking about now that we're older, looking back, we're so angry for stupid things.
Yeah.
We took on all that bitterness that we didn't need to take on, and now that we're older, we don't do that as much.
We don't have time for that.
Yeah,
That's right.
exactly. You
Oh,
know, some my aunt said, she sometimes she looks in the mirror and she said, "I'm 72 and I don't know how I got here." Yeah. So, but I'll just say, Chris, is there any?
Yeah, we've got a few comments from Parabolic Pianism, who's imagining koalas doing push-ups, loves the positivity of the discussion, and says we're in the best country.
Oh, thanks for that comment. Did you hear that, Michael?
I heard the second half of it. It said that we're in the best country, loves koalas doing push-ups.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, and the positivity of the discussion. Is there any more? Or
That's what we've got.
okay, yeah.
I've got another one from a LinkedIn user just came in, said 100% agree. Yes, we do well with what we can and with what we have.
Yeah, did you hear that?
I did. We heard that
Yeah.
perfectly. Well,
Yeah.
I've just enjoyed hanging out. I hope that if any of the people listening have got a question that can be answered by Jeff, you know how to contact him. If you've got a question that can be answered by me, don't be shy. Go and find me at those links that are on the screen or whatever, and just say, I saw you talking to Jeff. I've got a question. I will be delighted to help you in any way I can. It might be by connecting with someone else, or it might be by answering your questions. But we want to help you just like everyone else does, because this is an amazing life and want to contribute to your life somehow. Well, Jeff, believe it or not, I'm going to go and help someone to learn to use LinkedIn. But thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you for coming today. I really do appreciate it, and you've given some great advice and some great things to look out for on how to read between the lines.
That's awesome. And good luck to your listeners. And you'll get those 1,000 subscribers and you'll be at 10,000 before you know it. Okay. That sort of stuff, that goes up like a parabola. Okay. Like, you'll be amazed. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I hope so. Let's see what happens.
Go get it. Go get them.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you, Michael.
Have a good one, guys. See you later.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, everyone. That was Michael Clark from Athletic Koala. Great name. I really do love that name, Athletic Koala. I put Michael's LinkedIn link on the comment section on YouTube, and he's got his own website again, Athletic Koala. Please check him out. He's done some really good stuff. I've watched some of his videos through LinkedIn. They're great. If anybody wants to send me an email, it's blindadvocate007@gmail.com. If you want something that you want to come on and talk about, you have a business that you want to promote, or you want to have a topic that you want me to raise, please use that email address. I will respond to you within a day or two. Okay. All right. We might end it there. Thanks, Chris. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. And thanks again, Michael. Appreciate it. Bye.